to Courage in Crisis, conversations of faith, health, and wellness. We have been bringing you these conversations for in excess of 4 months. 19 pandemic, helping us to get a grasp on what is happening around us and to understand things of faith, things of God, and to be more through and to make it through successfully. Those persons who are going through difficulties, who are really feeling the pressure of the times, whether you are a younger person, an older person, may seem quite difficult, but our God is well able and quite sufficient. If you give him that opportunity, that God will come true for you and come with you. Speaking here from the Moravian Church in the East and West Indies province, just your neighborhood pastor reach out and just have a conversation so that you can have, we're talking to men and we're talking to men of faith, men and faith, walking the talk, talking about life and the issues. But they're not teenagers. They are older young men, and they are with us this afternoon. I have out of sync it's MJ Byron, and he has Yvonne William. Yvonne, please say hello.
Greetings.
I said hello, you can say greetings.
Yes.
To understand some of the context that we are living in these times. And I just want to say before we move on, last week we did a program talking about school and preparation for school. And I want to, if you are Calvin Moravian Facebook page or their YouTube channel, go back, just listen to it. The new school semester is going to be complicated. Be some challenges. We want you to go back, listen to that, and even the week before, listen to those as you prepare for the new school year. But today we're just talking with the COVID crisis.
Well, I am doing very well. Adjusting, didn't really have much adjusting to do, so I guess I've been adjusting.
Good afternoon again. Well, it has been a shocker from the start because even before the lock away, so I had to adjust forcefully. But with all the regulations and it's not norm, it is not culture. It's something that we have to now develop. So as we go on every day, it becomes a habit. It becomes second nature.
Of coping to deal with the realities that are before us. You made an important point there, which is that it's not going away. So we might as well adjust thing to do. But you've had to adjust, haven't you? I mean, you were in Jamaica, and
Yes, I was. But because I'm a person who is always inside, there wasn't much of a mental adjustment for me. It was just like, oh, just another day at school.
yeah.
Okay, well, currently I am studying for a degree in electronics engineering at UWE, Mona, Jamaica. Yeah, well, I'm home on vacation, waiting to hear what happens next, especially when it comes to the government and the protocols and how to get back to Jamaica to continue school.
And with many different other groupings, community group around. But I'm just here doing what I can, the best.
All intents and purposes, you are on life's journey. You're doing things, university, managing businesses, etc. Talk to us a little bit. We'll begin with you, MJ.
Yes, for me, the journey has been rocky, of course. There have been things that probably will throw you off course. You lose focus. There, you regain focus by just focusing. So it has been a rough one, but it has been there. During this time, prayers have been increasing. Where hey, this is a crazy moment. At any point, one of us could go, not naturally, but it's something that I have with myself, like, MJ, you sure if God come today, he probably gonna know you and them kind of things. So I have to constantly for me, I would say it is getting better. It is getting stronger as time goes on.
Similar to MG, mine as well has been a rocky one. Has been in and out. But like I've always been, yeah, maybe I am a Christian, but I feel like I'm not, because there was a point in my life where I just felt like I had to do so much to be a Christian. You know, do not only just do right, but allow him to help you. Because at the end of the day, you're not here to do this alone. He is with you. But I mean, yes, it might have been said from the pulpit, had to zone in on it. But then there was a dynamic change, especially in this COVID time, where how it means to treat the opposite sex, how it means to treat your family, how it means to treat your friends. What do we need as Christians, as young Christians? What do we need?
A lot to learn. Talking about still teaching me, you have a lot to learn, a lot more journey will go, because God has a way of to latch on to. And now it's kind of just jumping out of my head. But I like the thought of saying, when you talked about, sometimes you're saying, I think most people go through that because we get that sense that being a Christian means you have to feel high every time. You ought to be smiley every time. It is what God says, we are, and not about how we feel. And so that is a crucial thing there. To even tomorrow is about who God says that we are, right? And I think that is very powerful. You also there talked about, let's dig into that a little bit. I mean, what does that mean as a Christian young man? What does that mean for you?
Well, first of all, I had to understand that I'm an image bearer, right? Mm-hmm. We were made in his image, so I am an image bearer. Persons around me are image bearers. And then while I'm an image bearer, the spirit, which means I have to have that connection with God. And it's a daily journey. And then now, with all of that, tied into the fact of responsibility, because one of the things as men we tend to do is just shy away from taking responsibility, or even just saying, I'm sorry, I made a mistake and I need to apologize. I did something wrong, but you fix it, you fix up, you sort out your life, you heal by yourself. I might be hurting inside, but I'm not going to say anything. Just come out to me, even within this COVID period specifically. Yeah.
Sounds like you've been busy during COVID.
Much. When he said that as well, I was kind of intrigued. I wanted to know, like, okay, what he means. Well, like I was waiting on him to expand. Thank you. Truth is, Rev, simply is, we are men, young men. I mean, we're prone to explore as young men, especially our minds are so, rather than a female who is a little more reserved in terms of their adventure life. So it's balancing, like, hey, everything has to connect here, and the struggle starts there. Like, we are on the height of our and it's like putting all of that thing together and trying to stay connected to God and the word of God. And the struggle, young men are more left alone than the female. Whereas in the female have make decisions on your own. We can talk about the sex thing, don't have sex, but make sure you protect yourself if anything. While in the female side, while we push out more as male, while we experience the world more day to day, it's a struggle with balance, like finding yourself in the world and marinating both of them so that you could be not only a light in church but a light out in the
light in society, and that you're balancing so many things. The reality is, I suppose, that is life, and you are going to have to balance. You're going something that is trying to distort the image of God in you. Earlier, Ivan said that, remember, I'm an image bearer. How is the church helping you do this? And you can be honest. Yes, Ivan.
Has been helping me as much as I wanted to. The capital C church has been, because I would have been able to find has not done the job that it should have, because the Moravian Church gives off a vibe. Well, I personally received a vibe of you have to behave. You belong here, and we would help you to understand how to behave. But a lot of times, always, I need to get myself right before I show up. So when you ask persons, why you don't come to church today? Well, I still had this going on. I'm not gonna show up today because the reality is when you slip up, the shame comes. But the stare, the why are you here? Like you were just doing this. We heard this about you. The moment the information comes out, and then some persons maybe the ones to come and say, "How are you?" But when they say, "How are you?" from that, it would have. I don't believe the Moravian Church helped me as much as I wanted it to. Now, at the same time, there would have been good avenues for me to was much grooming as there should have been.
So there is some work for us to do. MJ.
I guess being a conference where, I mean, it's small enough and the focus on everybody is not 100%, but you get that pastors that, you know, they look out, they come directly to you. They don't see you and they be like, hey, what's going on? How are you doing? How are you doing? Don't give me your good. Everybody good, right? But how are you? So I was fortunate. I am fortunate enough to. So the Moravian Church has shaped me throughout the years from Reverend Aganon when I got there, he accepted. I went to the hall. I was invited to drum, and it was like, okay, come, we're gonna work on the spirit thing, but before I come to church, and after pastor for that we have Reverend Hilton Joseph, has done development in terms of the whole holistic development of me. So I would say that myself with.
Okay, so you see, you're getting two things here, because then there is the element of church may have helped, but then also the individuals who are involved. And that is something. Maybe I should ask this question: how both of you have been to camps, right? Both of you have been to camps, boldness of faith, etc., etc. MJ, you look like you're ready to speak.
Yeah. Well, for one, the pack. Camp came as a starter pack. Like, hey, there's a bunch of youths. We could have clean fun together as Christian young people. It's like I said, it's a starter pack. This is the baby milk. Drink it, and we're gonna nurture you up. Well, we hope for the nurturing up, but that period became it is a waste, right? So while the camp is good, what I answer the questions that you came from camp with, or to help to propel you on your walk from what the camp has started. And I think, and like we say here, there's a lot of backlash and back ends to it. You must be able, and I say you as in church, must be able to clamp down, help to push it forward. How is the question that we're asking? And you have different ways. We can do the same thing that we did in 2004. Take it back. We can do this. Needs a different assessment. The youth change, the minds change, the additional that fire. The camps were good. The camp, especially the one in Barbados, like that was really good. I push it here in St. Kitts, and St. Kitts already catching the fire, but this is a Moravian thing. This is a St. Kitts thing. How do I push this whole Moravian revolution, youth revolution? That's your sense where the youth, you don't have to question the youth body in the church. But that maintenance was missing after, and I'm sure
So let me add to it. First of all, I could say that camps would have really helped me because it is actually at camp. Although originally I did not want to go to camp, but it was at that camp I met MJ, and we have been friends ever since. I met MJ at that camp. I met MJ at the 2014 camp, and that's really just really give themselves to God, just really dive into Him. you know, this like if you saw fire in persons that you're able to see them now being like, yes, God, Jesus, yes, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. And then you would hear them give stories about when they went back home, it was just back to the same story. Everything there is nothing to do. And then even within the separate conferences that persons would have gone to, there would not have been much much activity. Didn't have youth pastors to help nurture them. And so also so that they can share their story with other persons who would want to go to. The reality of it is when persons decide to give their life to Christ, what they believe is that it's going to be easy. This Christian walk is going to be easy and expense. So because they mess up now, it's like, okay, I tried it, it didn't work, so I'm just gonna leave church and go up on business. But really, what we need to narrow way is a difficult way, and they need to know that if Jesus told you to pick up your cross daily and die, it simply means that you have something to. And for and a proper community within the church itself, you would see persons more being willing to come out and do stuff. They would go to camps, come back on, and it would just be an amazing thing. So yeah.
I'm hearing a number of things coming out. I'm hearing good camps of you saying, because in a sense, MJ saying that I've been able to continue on this journey because I had that continuity, because I had somebody doing with continuing to help to mentor me. I use that word, but not as much as you would like. So you want to have more. Now that you guys are older, and there's a generation coming available to be open to some of these young people and say, hey, I've been where you are. I've been feeling like this journey don't make any sense.
I've opened my arms to the youth, especially of my church. I'm open. I always gonna smile and I love to laugh and everything. So that kind of inviting. Time may be an issue, and care. So time may be an issue, but my arms are open for conversations, for mentoring.
I would also say yes, I am open to it. I know, as MJ said, time would have been, especially now that I am in school, so connected. But it is something that I am open to. I still, when I do come home, I do check in on the young men around. But I do feel like I could do more mentoring process because a lot of times I always felt like I never truly had a full mentoring that I needed. So I felt like I wasn't adequate enough to mentor. I was able to say, okay, yeah, if all I have is all I need, then this is where I need to start. Because another thing that I heard was simply he doesn't call.
Sounds like we can be calling on both of you to be more active, because I think that young men particularly need encouragement. I know both of you are active in your congregations and available, and you have experiences that you can share. And sometimes we keep thinking, I need to know the Bible more, I need to know more of this and know more of that. But because visibility says to somebody who's coming along the ranks, here there is a young man who looks regular and reasonable. Recognize that MJ made this point earlier, that the youth are changing. I mean, you're young, but the generation that is 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, when you were that age. And so you still have to do some learning in terms of how they are, so that you can meet them there. Been through various experiences with church, you now have something to share to other young guys, and young women as well. And that, hey, there's a real God and I want to give my life to Jesus, who actually did that, and they didn't find a community. But that's another thing we want to come to. Some of them you know by name. I'm not saying call names, but you can think about camp that you went in 2014 or 4 or whatever year that is was you went to. What do you say? Whatever she was involved in, whatever this young man was involved in, but they're just not connecting anymore with church. What do you say to those persons?
Home, right? And I think that
on those 5 words, let me sure I get them. It is okay. Come home.
The people, the people at the church, we need to be open armed people. Like, hey, we messed up. You, I'm not here to pinpoint your mistakes every day. I'm not here to throw it in your face. I'm asking you to give God a some persons are shunned away. Some persons are lost. But it came to them and those persons who probably just couldn't take on the way church was at the time to do so. But we, the church, have to do that forgiving as well. We, the church, have to be the ones, the pastors, the led come, and that is a heartwarming experience. Like they know you would have done, don't remind you of it. All they did was like, it's okay. You messed up, but come home. Come to church. Let us reason it out with God. Stay away because they're afraid to make mistakes, or they made a mistake and wasn't forgiven by the church. Or even some persons who they we have to find those 5 words. And I'm not talking about Moravian Church alone, I'm speaking capital C. I challenge anybody, if you know somebody out there who was in church and they lost, they gone into the world or whatever, and comfortable enough to step back in church and to come back around, not only just a one-time show up, but to come back around because they understand now that, I fail, yes, it is open even to the church people, much less to God, right? Do I stop those things because I fail? No, it is okay. Come home, because they constantly sinning, constantly probably going the wrong turn again. They self caught up in the wrong crowd. Right? They gravitate to the community outside the church. They find that community strong. They find that community very engaging. While the church community probably turn their face or cut up the eye or tell you can't sit down all afternoon. We're saying community has to be stronger, especially within the Moravian church. It cannot be the pastor. It's a collective effort. That once I welcome you from the bottom level as a member, like hey, and then that question, nurture that fire, that joy that you have to move forward with your work. Those 5 words is what is needed. Persons want to come, Rev. Young people like us, like me and Ivan, we here. We no longer come, we here, and people ain't gonna watch us. Don't make it here, so nothing. You go get a comb before you come in here, and then ramble them back up when I come out. That is what we have to say is okay now. Don't wear your pants and don't do the. If you speak to some of the young men, for sure they will tell you that hey, either church boring, can't take on church people and they give a thing, or they made a mistake and they feel shunned. Right? So I leave the rest to you.
Who are loved. God loves you, I love you. And though there would be persons who are out there who hate on you, understand that God loves you. And what we really call to is to fulfill purpose and not really potential. Because if you think back to Jesus never fulfilled his complete potential, but he completed his purpose. We share my testimony, let them understand that you may see me now smiling happy, and you might have seen me smile happy before, but on the inside I was struggling with sexual. Then Sunday evening now my mind going crazy and nobody talking about these problems. So now they would feel like they are the only one. They say, now it's let them understand you're not the only one. But God is you to the moment you accept Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit is within you and you have the power. But then here comes the community. So as much as we tell persons who outside come, exactly. So all those things you have those when you could fix those problems, then persons would be like, yeah, I'm ready to come home. Because they would decide, all right, I come to church and deal with church people because this is how they treat me. So when we can fix that, when we could get to the point of teaching running this race and also to run their race, because we have to tell persons, don't forget to remember, not only remember what God has done, but what the streets. I used to be out in the streets. And if we stop and think, when they check the children don't have the same name as them. So you know you was in the streets. But you had just like everybody. Exactly. You always had problems, just like everyone else. But God. And that is what we need to do. Point persons back our family. So yeah.
Thank you. We don't have enough time for these discussions. Can you give me a brief?
I'll go first.
Yvonne.
All right. I would say drums kept me as a male just being able to work in my giftings. So be like, oh, this, I understand this, so I'll do that. But then with that, God continued to call me to teach persons, to be able to know more about him. So I would say that is why I'm still here now. Before it was just because I had a duty to do. But after still wanting to help, being in charge of youth here and studying, but still want to help youths, especially young men, understand how life really is and the struggles that they're going through. They're not alone. That is
music is one of the things that kept me over the years, like seeing the music develop in the church, Moravian churches, and the whole works. That excites me as a music lover and as a male. Finding fix the stage, you need recarpeting, you need this, and those kind of things just invite you back as a male. Yeah, we're going to fence the yard. We're going to put it on your window or something. Those are action things, and we are action figures, right? While the female time, while a male is gonna be like, hey, been in this long meeting, tell me what we're gonna do, tell me when we're gonna do it, and we're gonna move there. And next thing is personally and developing within the church. I think I have a duty to help to pour back even the Heritage Youth Tour to gain that knowledge, not only about the church, but about God's work around the world. I have to impart that knowledge within the context of Moravian church and context of the faith walk with our youth.
I'm hoping that you point some of your colleagues to this chat. So I want you to find your place in God, and we want you to know that you are loved and loved dearly. The church will continue to work to be. God has been just too good to me. So thank you for sharing. MJ, you're saying something quickly?
Yes, the community, and we said, the faith community and church. The church is the community and everything like that. Well, that is okay. We need that
Mm-hmm.
the personal contact. So like I said, the assessment of the youth, because the youth are going to be the next generation of the Moravian church. The youth need to understand in the Moravian church why they're tithing, why the Moravian you did, Rev, like what Pastor Owen did. I speak in my context. Reverend Hilton did. Reverend Donita is doing. It's like, while we have that building that community, and you don't even have to reach, you don't have to speak to everybody, but a community is building. Just target the right person, and that person is going to filter down and target that community to emphasize that focus on you and on their development, not only spiritually, but
I hear your passion for that. And, as you have passion, God is going to use you in those particular ways. So again, Yvonne, I saw you, and what do you think about this and what do you think about that? God will open ways and opportunities for you to come into the place that you need to come into. And I pray indeed that you will, in crisis, conversations of faith, health and wellness. And we've been talking to young men about life and faith. And my name is Algernon Lewis. I have a suggestion, or if you have a question, whatever it is, you can reach out, even if a critique, as we want to be able to meet you where you are and help you to have courage.